Namaskaram, Sadhguru. What are you up to?
You can see what I'm up to. Just they need a little bit of care.
One has been reading a lot yesterday about your project Green Hands. And the fact that it's a project that created a world record last year by initiating the planting of more than 8.5 lakh trees all over Tamil Nadu. So it's clearly an ambitious project. I mean, I understand that ecology is an important concern all round, but why would a spiritual figure, a mystic, invest this kind of time and energy and effort in the environmental cause in particular?
It's not an environmental cause. See, my hands are not getting green, they're only getting muddy.
And mine are.
So, it is not an environmental cause at all. It is… Every human being is concerned about his well-being. There is no human being who is not concerned about his well-being. It is just the scale and scope which varies from person to person. One person thinks human well-being means just his well-being. He should eat well, he should live well. For another person, it's him and his family. For another person, it's him and his community. For another person, it's him and his nation. For someone else, it's the whole world. For someone else, it's every life form on the planet. So there is nobody who is not concerned about human well-being or well-being of a life. They are. Only the scale and scope is different. For one person, taking care of his well-being, his family's well-being means that today they cooked and they ate, that's it. For another person, it means keeping his atmosphere clean, his city clean, well. For another person, it means keeping the whole world well the way it needs to be. So, it is not an ecological interest. Project Green Hands is not… I don't consider that as an ecological initiative. It is just that when the question as to why a spiritual person is in this, what does spirituality mean to people? Fundamentally, a spiritual person means he is also concerned about human well-being, but the depth of the scope with which he is looking at life is larger. He doesn't look at human well-being as just taking care of the physical body or the mind. He looks at taking care of the very core of his life. So, he is not in any way different from others, it's just that he has enhanced the scope of his life. He is looking at life in a much deeper way and he wants to take care of that aspect too. If you do not take care of the very core of who you are, your taking care of the surface will be accidental. So, right now I am into tree planting, not because I am some kind of a environmentalist, but because right now the situation is like this. You know, once it happened, Shankaran Pillai joined the forest department. And on a certain day, people found him and another person were working on the street side. Shankaran Pillai was digging the holes and the other person behind him was closing it up and following him. So someone stopped and looked at this wasteful activity and then they said, "What are you guys doing?" "What are you guys doing here like this, one digging and another closing?" So, Shankaran Pillai explained, no, the thing is, my job is to dig. There's another person, number 2 person, who is supposed to plant a sapling, and then the third person has to put the mud back. But today, number 2 is on leave. So, like this. So this number 2 has been on leave for too long in this country. He's been on leave for too long. So I'm just doing the number 2's job, just filling in for him. So, taking care of one's well-being means different things to different people. One person thinks just if he eats well, it's enough. another person understands that he needs to take care of his breath, another person understands he needs to take care of his relationships, another person understands he needs to take care of the very environment in which he lives. Taking care of well-being, human well-being, does not just mean eating well. One has to take care of everything that concerns our life. Is there anything on this planet which doesn't concern your life? Whatever happens to this planet happens to you. So, when we talk of well-being, it is not just about taking care of your physical body, you take care of the very body of the earth because your body is just a part of that. So, my interest is not ecological, my interest is just human well-being and well-being of all life on this planet. So, without taking care of the atmosphere and the ecological situation around us, how can we live well? So this whole idea of something is human, something is ecology, is a very distorted and disjointed ideas of life. The very essence of yoga is, the word yoga means union, where you begin to experience everything as yourself. There are many ways to look at this, there are many ways to know this. One simple way is, the very body that you are is just the food that you have eaten. The food that you ate is just the earth. So you are just a piece of earth, or earth is your larger body. Right now, our attitude has become like this. We take care of our little finger, but we didn't take care of our head. So if your concern is only the little finger and not the rest of the arm, you will anyway suffer. So earth is just a larger body for what you call as a human body right now. You're just an outcrop on this planet. You may think too many things about yourself, but as far as the earth is concerned, you are just a material to recycle. Not just in terms of food and excretion, but in the very process of life and death, you are just a recycle on this planet. All life on this planet is just a recycle of the earth. Earth is just interested in recycling. It has sort of given you a kind of loan. Your body is just a loan from this planet. Whoever has given you a loan naturally watches you carefully. If you take loan from somebody, they'll watch you as to what you're doing, your activity. If you're conducting your business properly, they'll allow you to keep the loan for a long time. If they feel that you're not conducting your business properly, they are in a hurry to collect the loan from you. It is the same with Mother Earth. If you're conducting the business of life properly, she will allow you to keep it for a long time. If you're not conducting it properly, she is in a hurry to collect it from you, which you call as death, but it is just she's collecting back the loan that she offered to you. So, these ideas of ecology and you are doing something about ecology, these are very distorted perceptions. These are all very distorted perceptions of life. Right now, as a nation, we are on an economic upsurge. So right now our idea of economy is, unfortunately, we think it's more and more, and that's all. This kind of economic growth, which we think is an endless growth, is not realistic, not sustainable, because everything that you produce, buy and use in your life is something that you're digging up from the planet. Every little bit, whether it's a safety pin or a car or a machine, you are only digging it up from this planet. When this is so, and it's a limited planet, so as we go into this economic possibility, if we have any sense, we need to somehow regulate it ourselves out of our own sense. If human sense doesn't prevail then nature will take its own course of action to correct the imbalances, but that's going to be very painful for the human beings when nature takes certain type of action. So either we come to our senses and regulate our activity, understanding the limitations of what is available to us. It's not an endless planet, it is a limited planet, we can use it to a certain extent. And right now we are gobbling it up at a tremendous pace. If there is no compensatory activity on the same scale as we exploit whatever we use on this planet, then we have a recipe for disaster. So right now, whatever this little bit of action that we are doing in the form of Project Green Hands is just to compensate what we are using up. It is it's unfortunately, these actions are coming forth from most people, and right now people are responding the way they're responding to the project, a phenomenal response, is unfortunately not because of their love for nature or life around them. It is only because of their survival instincts. They realize that if they have to survive, they have to take care of a few things. But whichever way, somehow some action is happening, more than planting trees, above all, to bring that sense of involvement in people, to make people understand that plant life or trees, this life is the closest relationship you have on this planet. What they exhale, you inhale. What you exhale, they inhale. There is a very intimate bond between a human being and plant life. If one experiences that, there would be a deep sense of love and involvement with plant life. But now at least with the fear of disaster and the instinct of survival, people are beginning to do something. It's good, but the scale that we are doing right now may look mega scale because of the size of what we are doing, but still, I want you to understand it's just a drop in the ocean. What needs to happen and what is happening is too little. Much more needs to happen, because the rate at which we are exploiting the resources of this planet is so high. Unless we really do the necessary compensatory acts, we are not going to find a solution. So this is a choice that all of us have. Every generation of people have this choice, that you're either a part of the problem or part of a solution. I think as a generation, if we have any sense, whatever life that is left out of us, if we can pitch it for the solution, it will be a sensible way to live, a more intelligent way to exist on this planet. So right now, India is on a tremendous economic upsurge. This is a population which has been starved for many generations. Now when the opportunity for economic well-being comes in a big way, in many ways, our activity is going to go berserk. Especially as a nation, we are over 1 billion people living in a very small piece of land actually for 1 billion people. We don't have enough, though our poets sing many things about the nation, we need to understand, we as a country do not have enough mountains or rivers or even the necessary sky for 1 billion people. So it's extremely important, along with the economic upsurge, we take care of the ecological balance in the country. The incentive to to cut a tree has gone up in a big way. Maybe 10 years ago, if you cut this tree, you earned only 500 rupees, but today if you cut this tree, you earn 5,000 rupees. So the incentive to cut the trees has gone up. So it's extremely important we as a society create the necessary incentives to plant a tree. If we don't do that, we are definitely asking for a very major kind of trouble for the nation. Because already we are aware that there's a huge water shortage in the country, drinking water shortages are going to be heavy. In southern India, we know very rapidly, Tamil Nadu is… the desertification is happening very, very rapidly. So unless we put back the necessary green cover, which is one of the simplest ways to save the land, I'm not even talking about climate change or global warming, just to save the land. The speed at which good agricultural land, which sustained us for thousands of generations. This is a land where you can grow food 12 months of the year. Or in other words, it means that if we bring in the necessary technology and resources, India in many ways can be the bread basket of the world, because we are a country where we have the necessary climate and terrain where we can grow food and food crops for full 12 months of the year. But we have not been able to make use of that for various reasons, but a time has come when we can. But by the time we are able to do it, the land may be rendered incultivable in large tracts, which is beginning to happen. So one of the simplest ways to save this and to change this process or to reverse this process is that we bring back sufficient green cover. In Tamil Nadu, the aim of Project Green Hands is to bring back 30% green cover at least. So, one of the ways to do it here, in this particular part of the country, is to make at least a part of the agricultural land into horticultural crops, which the government is also assisting these days, and they have a mission like this. So, activity is happening, but not at the speed which we actually need. We don't have to wait for a disaster and then act. If we desertify this land, putting the land back into a cultivable quality, it is a 100-year project. It's not going to happen overnight. We can destroy it in a matter of few years, but if we want to put it back, it will take at least 100 years. So it's best to do the necessary action before those disasters happen. So, the very soil that you're walking on is very intelligent. The earth is very intelligent. Did it ever so happen that you planted a mango seed and a neem tree came up? Or you planted a neem seed and a mango tree came up? Such things never happen. Because the very soil that you walk upon is enormous intelligence. Here, as a spiritual sadhana, it is mandatory for everybody that at least for half an hour in a day, they must stick their hands into the earth doing something. Because if you keep that contact with the earth, in many ways your system will reorganize itself because that's where it comes from. Your body is just an outcrop of this planet. If you keep in touch with that, that's the idea of sitting on the floor, that's the idea of lying on the floor, that we don't sleep on a cot, we sleep on the floor. Just to be close to that, the more you're in touch with it, the more organized your body will be. You must have heard or at least seen pictures of, yogis buried up to their neck. They're not trying to perform a feat. It is a way of reorganizing the system. Today, because we have lost this contact, when you use the body and your mind in certain ways, it gets disorganized. This disorganization can lead to disease and weakness and ultimately destabilization of the system itself. So today you take vacations, go to the spas, have mud bath in a very expensive atmosphere, but every day if you stick your hands into the earth, at least for a few minutes a day, you would see the body would be in a much better condition because whenever it's in contact with the earth, the body reorganizes itself. So, it is a common saying in India that if somebody is dull, somebody is very dim in their head, we say, do you have mud in your head? I wish you had mud in your head because it's very intelligent